can get started if everybody's ready.
Yeah.
So I will call the meeting to order. I did one thing right. As you know, Brian Pennington is not here, and so I suppose he has requested an excused absence. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll move.
Let's just do a roll call in terms
Okay.
of who's here first. So you've called the meeting to order, and I'll just do a quick roll call. Chair Pennington is absent, and we can talk about the excused absence in a minute. Vice Chair Pennington? Here.
Peeler, you said
I mean,
Pennington?
Vice Chair Peeler?
Here.
Member Meinting? Here. Member Hess?
Present.
Member Geis? Here. Member Williams?
Here.
And Member Benson?
Here.
Okay. So now we can do,
Okay.
Brian has requested an excused absence.
Shall we, can I get a motion again, please?
I'll move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brian is excused. And next we want to do the minutes, is that correct?
Yes.
So does everyone have a chance to review the minutes? Does anyone have any suggested changes or recommendations that be added?
This is minor, but a point of clarification. The awning that I looked at, I thought some of the hardware might be aluminum, not the awning itself. I think we approved in this done, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay. Any other additions or edits to the minutes? So then do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written with Vernon's addition?
Yes.
We didn't get a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is approved and the minutes are approved as well. Sure.
So the first item that we have on the agenda tonight is a request by Mr. Adam Metz to install a roughly 462 square foot rear deck at the property located at 616 Fountain Place. The property is in the medium density residential zoning district and is located in the historic district overlay. Included in the meeting packet is the applicant's materials and the maps and our staff report, which describes the project and any relative findings of fact. Mr. Metz is not available, and I'll just attest that the information I'm providing is the truth to the best of my ability. Mr. Metz is not available tonight, but he has an appointed representation. So if you want to come up.
Okay. And I do have him on the phone as well, so if any additional questions need to be asked, he is here. He had to go out of town instead.
Okay.
So,
Do you want to just state your name for the
I'm
record?
Mackenzie Brown, and I'm his realtor.
And your address?
2610 West Front Street, Burlington.
All right. And do you attest that the information that you're providing tonight is the truth to the best of your ability?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not sure
But I don't have that information in front of me. I do know that Adam is planning to put on a
I
deck
can scroll to
Okay,
the
perfect.
pictures. Sure.
on the back of his house, which will not be facing the street. Correct, Adam?
That's correct. Using wood materials that would be fit into the historic character of the house.
So I'm just going to scroll through some of the information that was provided to us.
Okay.
And I'll try to assist you the best I
Thank you.
can, but this is the applicant's burden.
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are the pictures that were provided as part of the application materials, the appraisal of the property, and then this map here, I believe, highlights the general location of where the deck is.
Correct.
And then scrolling back up, this is the orientation of the deck.
The sketch of the deck is what they're showing Adam on the back of the house, the L shape.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And there was a picture, I think this is a general picture of, if I can zoom in.
That's the back of the house, yeah.
The rear view.
So you can see kind of where this is going to be coming off of.
Correct.
Okay.
So it'll L shape off of there. That way they have access from those two red double doors onto the deck.
I'm just seeing if there's anything, is there anything else, Mackenzie?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want me to point to in the materials here?
No, you've seen the packet, Adam. Is there anything that you want to point out in that packet or anything else?
Just that we will use appropriate materials. I believe pine wood would be the foundation. We would either use pine wood as the surface of the boards of the deck, or we may go for whatever the board suggests. But yeah, it's all wood material. It will be low to the ground, and we're very appreciative of the opportunity.
Yeah, they love this area. I think Adam was part of putting the speed bumps in, right, over at Fountain Place. And so they've got baby number 4 on the way. So they want to really utilize the space that they have there. And I don't think they're going anywhere for a while. So they spend a lot of time outside with the kids. And I mean, he hasn't told me this, but I know this for them as their characteristic and their family. They just want to be able to, use the property to the best of their benefit. And
Our family was living on the street in the 70s.
Yeah.
On Fountain Place, and we have 4 under 4 coming.
yeah, so they'll do it right per y'all's request if there's any changes.
Are there any railings or anything else besides just the platform?
Are there any railings?
Not this time. It is going to be low to the ground, below the standard for railings. But if there needs to be railings, we can add it. It's kind of we're starting with the base and then growing with it. But eventually there will be railings of some sort. They're just not a part of this plan yet because we haven't figured out how we want to do it.
So I guess that would be a code question. If it's below, and I know this is real estate, if it's below the height, they don't have to add railings. If it's a certain height, then obviously do for safety reasons. So obviously they're below that height.
That's correct.
Anyone else, any questions for the applicant?
I have 2 questions.
Okay,
Is it going to be painted or bare wood?
or bare wood or painted?
It will be stained.
Stained.
So it will be painted with the character of the wood.
I know you have to wait a certain amount of time if it's pressure
Sure.
treated, I think you
Yep.
still have to wait a little bit. And then my second question, will any of it be, it doesn't look like any of it will be visible from the street?
Correct. So that's his whole objective, is to not change the aesthetics from the street view of the home.
So the L part of it sits behind the sunroom right there?
Yes,
Right.
and kind of juts out and comes back, yep.
Yeah, that was gonna be my only question, just to
Yeah.
confirm it won't be visible
No.
from the street anymore.
Yeah, be tucked behind there for their enjoyment.
Are there any trees that need to be?
I don't think you don't have to remove any trees. You're not touching anything,
No
no.
trees, no plants.
Yeah.
So Jamie, are there rules about
Replacing
the
an existing
Hang
structure.
on.
trails if they end up going up? There are, right?
I would say that would really be a residential building code
Okay, so-
requirement. So just like any other process, if approved, they would have to apply for a residential building permit,
Correct.
and then that all gets
Correct.
reviewed and approved. I guess it's really up to the commission how you want to treat. If they do need railing, you may want to talk about just discussing that now in terms of any kind of material, so that potentially Mr. Mess wouldn't have to come back if they're doing some kind of alteration to it. So that's really up to you guys if you wanna, not make a recommendation, but, discuss, you know, if the deck is gonna be made of pine wood or some sort of wood with stain, I would imagine that any additional railings,
Would be the
would
same.
be complementary
Correct.
to that. So you may, you know, you may want to, if it is so inclined, you may want to amend the application to include any railings if required.
If required?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something that we do tonight, or?
We often try to be as understanding with homeowners
Okay.
to avoid having to
Revisit
return, but
them.
we also can't speak for the
Sure.
application, and so I'm doing my best
Yeah.
to funnel things through you here, which is
Yeah.
a little unusual of how we
Okay.
normally operate.
Okay.
So Jamie, if we approve the railing and, you know, and had it added to the application, if required,
Right.
for the railings, and then once the code was made and the progress started, and railings weren't needed, but they decided they
To
wanted
put
to add
railings.
railings at some point, would the application process cover them for that
Mhm.
in the future?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have that, Adam?
So what I'm hearing is they'd be better to get it approved with railings and then just not
Yeah.
put the railings on.
So what they're saying is make an amendment to the application and add railings in there in
If
case,
necessary.
if necessary, in case, what now?
Yes.
Yeah, they're fine with that. In case the builder says for code reasons you have to have it, which I don't think with your height you will, but then let's just say down the road you decide, or during the building process, to add railings, this approval, if approved, will cover that. It'll blanket it. So it's covered whether needed or not. Okay.
Perfect.
Any other questions? Does the city have a recommendation?
City's recommending approval. We have not received any calls or emails regarding the application. There is a member of the audience here, so I would just ask if there's any comments or questions relative to this application. Okay.
So has everyone had a chance to look at the findings of fact? Can I get a motion then to approve the finding of,
I'll make a
findings
motion.
of fact as written?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those again, those opposed?
I'm just going to do a quick roll call.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
If you don't mind.
no, go right ahead.
Okay.
Hang on.
Vice Chair Bueller?
Aye, yes.
All right. Chair Monty? Sorry.
Yes.
Member Monking?
Yeah.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Geis? Member Benson?
Aye.
And Member Hess? Okay.
Motion passes.
Mhm.
So was that a motion to approve with the railings or?
No, that was
just
for the
findings?
findings of
Okay,
fact.
findings, okay.
So Adam's next step is,
We're not done yet.
We're getting there. If I haven't heard any more objections from people, can I get someone to,
I would move
Provide a
to
motion.
approve with the addition of approving railings, complementary railings if needed.
can I get a second? All, or do you want to do a roll call?
I'll do a roll call.
Okay,
Okay, Vice Chair Bueller?
yes.
Member Monking?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Yes.
Member Geis?
Yes.
Member Benson?
Yes.
And Member Hess?
Yes.
Okay, so his application, their application has been approved.
okay,
Next step will be, I will prepare a COA document, one
Okay.
page document that will summarize the approval. I will also write out a yellow card that, it's a placard that needs to be displayed in a window or somewhere visible while work is being done. He will need to apply for a residential building permit,
okay,
and that is through our online Smart Gov portal. Once the paperwork is done and he gets the approval, then they can start construction.
perfect,
Okay?
okay.
The COAs are good for 6 months.
6 months to get on it, okay,
If he goes beyond that, then you can always request an extension.
okay.
All right.
COA, apply for the front yard, get a building permit, start building.
Right.
Thank you. All right, have a wonderful evening, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Bye, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm looking at the old minutes from last one that says acting chair have item number 2, moving right along. We have a request from Mr. and Mrs. Cowan to install a building addition at their home at 2451 Glencoe Street. This property is also located in the medium-density residential zoning district and in the historic overlay. In your materials, you'll find the architectural plans, the site plan that shows where the building addition is going to be, a description of the improvement. There's also an email from Preservation North Carolina that they've approved the application. Mr. Cowan is present tonight, and I'll just ask that he attests that the information he's providing is the truth to the best of his ability.
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Cowan also? She wants to speak, okay.
She said.
All right, so I've got the pictures up if you want to kind of just walk through your application. Let's see. Is there a particular page you want me to start with?
No, we can speak. The section to the left with all the vertical lines is the addition, and the section below is the existing house. The additions in Glencoe are a little different than they might be in the historic district in town, in that the houses are very small. So we have like 70 pages of design covenants specific to Glencoe that were developed by Preservation North Carolina when they set up the village. And they allow there's a formula, an addition can be, I believe it's 55% of the size of the original structure. So our original structure is only like 900 feet, so the addition is like 600 square feet. Another significant difference from additions in the district in town in Glencoe is because the houses are so small, they can't come to the front, but they can extend up to 6 feet past the sidelines of the house. If you look down the side of the house, you can go out several feet. Many of the houses, not all, but many of the houses have additions that were built when they were first renovated roughly 20 years ago. Ours, we did not put an addition on it at that time, so we're kind of catching up. It was Lynn worked with Jeff Wilkins, architect here in town, to design it. We designed it to complement and look like the old house. Another requirement in the covenants is that the windows in the original houses are 9/6, 9 panes over 6 panes. And the additions can't be 9/6, they're 6/6, so that when you visually look at them, you know this is new. This is not the original structure, so we're going to do 6/6 windows. It's going to have a metal roof like the rest of the house. It's going to have true wood siding. I believe the windows will be wood windows on the exterior. Interestingly, it's just a little side, we're going to try to get the best windows we can. Our original old house had lost all its windows when we restored it 20 years ago, so we got true divided wood windows made by Stevenson down in Wilson, North Carolina. So they're made just like the old ones. They're not thermopane in the old part. We'll probably get more modern windows in the back. I think that, and there's a chimney. The foundation brick and the chimney will be the same. Our house had collapsed. It was on piers when it was renovated, and those had collapsed. The house was falling over. And we used old Yorktown from Pine Hall brick, and that's still available. And we'll use that under the addition and to build the one chimney for an additional fireplace. There's a screen porch on the back. A lot of the additions have screen porches as well. So it meets all the guidelines. We had to submit this plan to Preservation North Carolina, and they very carefully looked it over. We had to modify it. We were 2 feet over the size, so we shrank it a few inches. So it's got Preservation North Carolina's blessing, which is important for the context out there. Lynn, anything I missed?
No, I think that covers it. Unless there are questions.
Yeah. Any questions?
So the siding is wood and it will match the siding on the,
I meant to include that, I meant to say something about that. Our house and many of the early houses in Blanco, it's not bevel like you think of as pine saw where the top edge is thin. It's actually 5/8 thick from the top to the bottom edge. They're thin boards. And that's what our house has, and that's what we'll use on the back. We'll have it made, and it'll match the rest of the house exactly. It'll be all wood. All the trim around the windows outside will be wood. We'll try to use something more rot resistant, and then pine, like Great Grandis. We use that a lot in our restoration work, exterior restoration work. It's a sustainably grown tropical eucalyptus, and it's fairly rot resistant and available at the hardwood store in Gibsonville.
any other
Question. Can you just briefly describe what does preservation, I'm just not familiar with Preservation North Carolina and all their covenants, but my sense is that their covenants go above and beyond way above and beyond what's required for our purposes.
Yes.
So my gut feeling is if it passed them, then, it ought to pass us. But can you just to educate me, I guess, as to what do they look at and what other comments might they have made?
Lynn, I can answer that. Lynn, did you hear the question?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
heard that there was something about the difference between
Well-
presidency and the local.
Well, but they're just asking for a little background on Preservation North Carolina and its role in this. So, do you want to? I can do it, or would you like to?
I'll be happy to answer.
She worked for Preservation North Carolina for
Great,
6 years.
it's a learning thing for me, so I appreciate the explanation.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Tom?
Yes, they can hear you.
Okay, so Preservation North Carolina acquired the property. It had been abandoned for about 60 years, and they acquired it through a bargain sale in 1997. Sarah Ryan had ended up in ownership. Her husband was the mayor of Graham for years, and she knew it was special, so she held on to it and did a bargain sale, meaning half donated, half paid for. And so PNC worked with the city and with the county to bring water and sewer out there, because that was the reason it had been abandoned. It landed in Perk. So we actually dammed up the river, ran water and sewer underneath there, did a subdivision, and started to sell the houses to people for restoration. And like Tom mentioned, there are 62 pages of preservation covenants that were placed on the property in perpetuity. And part of those 62 pages are design guidelines, both for existing structure and for new construction. And so PNC continues to monitor the property as the holder of the preservation covenants, and so they have approval of everything that happens to those houses. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you so much. I remember, seeing that on the Preservation North Carolina website years ago and was curious.
Yeah.
And Preservation North Carolina is very active. They have a revolving fund. They try to save endangered properties, so the houses in upscale neighborhoods don't ever see those, but rural houses, especially small town. And they helped back the preservation, the North Carolina Historic Preservation Tax Credit law that 20 years ago, and then it got reinstituted several years ago. They were backers of that.
Well, please do accept our thanks for being instrumental in making that all happen. That's a major undertaking. And my maiden name happens to be Cowan, though I don't think we're any relation.
Well, any other questions? Good questions.
I'll just say that there's no other members of the audience here present tonight.
I'll ask you for percent on that. Are you losing any trees as a result of it?
No. We wish we had more.
Any comments from the neighbors?
No, we didn't receive any calls. or emails on an application.
We showed our neighbors the plans, they were on board.
Staff recommendation?
We are recommending this addition, and certainly, value and enhancement and additions and investment on the historic properties. Pleased to have that.
Any other questions from committee members? Did everyone have a chance to look at the findings of fact? Can I get a motion then to approve the findings of fact as they were as written?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Jimmy, do you want to do a roll call?
Sure. Vice Chair Peeler,
Yes.
Member Meinking,
Yes.
Member Williams.
Yes.
Member Geis.
Yes.
Member Benson,
Yes.
and Member Hess.
Yes.
So the motion to approve the findings of fact is approved. If there are no other objections or questions from the committee members, can I get a motion on the approval of?
So moved.
I'll second.
Vice Chair Peeler,
Yes.
Member Meinking,
Yes.
Member Wilson, Williams,
Yes.
Member Geis,
Yes.
Member Benson,
Yes.
and Member Hess.
Yes.
That's okay, I was looking around like, uh-oh.
Keeping you on your toes.
Yes.
So the motion to approve the application passes, and so,
I think you know the process. I'm happy to explain it again. I will be preparing a COA document and also the yellow card for a placard that needs to be displayed while work is being done. You can apply for your residential building permits and just reference the fact that you have received your COA. I'll also upload that into the system too, so it'll track with the parcel. The COA is good for 6 months. You can start construction once you get your building permit. If it goes beyond that 6 months, then just make a request to have that extended so it doesn't expire. Okay.
Thank y'all.
All right. I think once you get your formal letter, as opposed to the email, just send that to me from Preservation North Carolina.
Then did we get a formal letter from PNC? We did.
We did. I scanned it and sent it to Jamie.
Oh, okay.
She
For
was
some
asking
reason, I
about
thought I just got the email.
Yeah, I scanned it as soon as I got it.
Okay. I'll double check I got it.
We're all set, Lynn. Bye.
Okay. Thank y'all.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, good luck.
Thanks.
have a good evening.
You too.
My apologies, we started this morning with an 8 o'clock Board of Adjustment meeting, so when
We're dragging a little bit.
that lasted
No
4
worries.
hours, so.
Here.
It's been a Monday kind of Tuesday.
Yeah, so please accept my apologies, I'm not doing,
No, I would have said, you would have threw me off, and I was like, wait.
I think my brain is, it's functioning.
Well, we had a Wilkins this morning,
Yeah.
when it's been so bad.
Yes. Okay,
So new business?
yes, you want to talk about the grant application?
So we'll just briefly talk about the grant application. So I sent all of you emails about the survey that we sent out. If you've done it, thank you. That is all gonna go into, Conrad is preparing, along with both of us, the application to request a grant. That'll also be approved through city council, and then if awarded, it'll go towards, we're gonna do a focus on educational campaign. So educating people in the area about the historic things that they would like to learn about, or things that they wanna do to improve their home. If you haven't done it yet, I did put a paper copy on those of you who hadn't done it. If you could just, either in a second or complete that before you leave, just so that we can go ahead and get kind of like, or if you just did online, that's perfect. So far, I went ahead and like kind of created like a mini report of like what the 6 individuals as before today, that's what I had as of Monday. And so the most common topics were the economic study and impacts of historic preservation, the historic landscaping, and underserved communities. Those plus whatever you guys have said that you have interest in, we'll probably request to get some experts in on those items. We're thinking, me and Conrad have thought through some interactive opportunities with learning these things. And then a lot of people are looking at hybrid options. So some people want to do hands-on work or just learning in like a conference room or somewhere. And then some people still want the option to be able to, if they can't be there or someone else wants to be there, to do the online version. That'll either look like a webinar where we record the sessions and post them later, or it could be, we're talking through possible being able to live stream it or some kind of thing like that. And then some of the events that people said they'd like to see was more large scale, so staff is looking at different locations to host those, such as the historic Paramount Theater, the historic Carousel Meeting Space, or even possibly here, just depending on how many people say they want to be at the events will kind of determine probably where we have the location. And most people said that they wanted to see 1 to 3 smaller events or 1 big event, so we'll probably find a happy medium somewhere between those, more pertaining it towards the different types of things that people want to learn about. Some of them we thought we could group together, other ones might need an entire session just on their own. And then so we had some additional input about neglect in the district, economic impact studies, like the economy in the downtown projects, and other things like that. So that's kind of what we have gathered. Like I said, that was as of Monday when I put that report together. So what you guys have submitted today or this afternoon, we will also take that into account. And then, like I said, we'll finish the application, take it to city council, and then we'll submit it with the hopes that we are granted the grant. So if there's any other input you guys have on anything that was mentioned in the survey that we sent out or not mentioned in the survey, I will take notes of that and pass that along. We'll discuss it and go from there.
I just filled it out, I'm sorry for
No, you're
being so late,
fine.
and I should have written this in there. But Wendy and I, a couple months ago, we were talking about having like a historic home sign workshop as sort of option, because your former house has such a lovely one that you made yourself, and I was thinking more about it, like if more homes in the district had that sort of marker with like the name of the house if known and the date and all that, would elevate different properties, and maybe a longer term sort of project. But it's relatively easy to do.
Oh, very easy, very inexpensive.
You're crafty though, I'm not crafty. Like,
I
Wendy says it's easy.
I used a Cricut and I did outdoor vinyl littering, and believe it or not, if you've driven by, similar to what they have in Hillsborough. So I was just in Hillsborough last night, went to the Colonial Inn, finally got to eat dinner there. If you haven't been, you guys are aware of that project. Happy and disappointed all in one. I'm happy to say, but disappointed in some of the choices. But anyway, long story short, I don't know, the Morrow Barnwell House, where we used to live, it was zoned for bed and breakfast, and so would homeowners need to get permission to put in that sort of sign? Okay. Would it be a minor application? Is that? Or is this
Well, the
something-
sign would come through a sign permit.
Okay. Like the little red,
Yeah, Little Red House.
yeah, what is that
Or
called
the
now?
Old Red House?
Old Red House, Old Red House.
So you're talking about the plaques that you put right next to your front door?
No,
Or are you
this is
talking
a
about something
hanging
different?
sign. So if you go to, drive by my old house, 426 West Front Street, across from Macedonia Church, the previous owners it was black and it said the Morrow Barnwell House, and it rotted. They used like particle board and plywood. So we just replaced it. I mean, we never did a COA for replacing it. Maybe we should have, but should we have? Anyway, bad. But anyway, yeah, so.
I'll
but
pass that along. We
It,
can-
it really does give character to
Yeah, so
a,
you're just saying like a sign workshop to like highlight the historic properties and any, okay.
so they have the
And
name of,
see or whatever process you
Yeah.
want me to go through
Cool.
to do it.
Yep, got it down.
forgot about that.
Yeah, I know, that was supposed to be my husband's Christmas present. It's gonna be coming.
And just for, for new members and just a reminder for others, the city is recognized as a certified local government through the state. And so because we have that status, we are able to apply for grants through the State Historic Preservation Office. We have received in the past grants for an architectural survey update, we received a grant as part of the design standard update project. So this is a new application that, and we actually, met with folks from the State Historic Preservation Office, kind of talk about, what they thought would be good, and since we've gone through some changes in the district, some educational outreach would be great. So with that said, get your feedback and comments to Bree, and the deadline for the application is in April. So we'll keep you posted on what
I
we're
did
doing.
mine today.
Perfect.
Okay.
No, it's all good, that's why we sent out reminders. It was just, we wanted to do this
Thank
one
you.
more last call for you guys to be able to give your input, because you are our historic commission, so we want all of your input in if possible, so.
Oh, and I'll also say that Preservation Burlington is very interested in partnering with any kind of outreach and education that the city does. So they most likely will have some involvement in the workshops too.
Yeah,
Which is great, because it'll help to be more engaging and help with publicity.
Yeah,
And certainly they have some feedback too in terms of what
yeah, they gave feedback, and so.
Yeah, I was thinking if the idea is community outreach and education, I put something in the one I filled out, hopefully you got it, and maybe it's not appropriate for this particular grant cycle, but just as food for thought, I'm on the board of Habitat for Humanity, and there is some precedent in Winston-Salem and a few other places. Typically, the Alamance Habitat, from what I understand, has always been only ground-up construction. They haven't touched, anything in historic. But we do have some neighborhoods that could really use some improvement of historic buildings, and it struck me that it might be cheaper and faster for Habitat to be involved in rehabbing some historic structures instead of having to build from the ground up all the time.
There was
So I'm wondering if, if we could help do some community outreach in those ways as well to organizations that we might be able to hold their hand and help show them, okay, there's precedent for this, and there might be other grants out there at the state or national level
Yeah,
that
I
can
think
go
that's a
that way.
great idea.
There was a home on the corner of Fisher and Front
Mhm.
that was, I forget the name of the organization that purchased it, but it was in Durham, yeah, and they purchased it really cheap, and,
Mhm.
but now that house keeps selling for
Yeah.
more and more money.
Yeah.
And right
so
there,
I'm
in a
thinking,
terrible location.
Habitat could look at its business model and
So,
see,
yeah.
might it make more sense, given that there is a stock of historic
Yeah.
homes that need improvements.
They made a huge profit on
Yeah.
the first sale of it, I believe, so it's like $239 or something. But,
And then I feel like I'm seeing even more houses in need of a lot of work where they're being bought up by investors and like clouded in vinyl and things destroyed, and like it looks like a shell of its former self.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
and then none of them, very few of them have been in the district proper, but it breaks my heart.
Yeah, and Habitat's mission, of course, is, affordable housing
Yeah.
and making homeownership available to people who otherwise couldn't afford it. But it seems like that could be compatible.
there's a beautiful old home on North Fisher that, just got vinyled. Yeah. So.
Okay, any other thoughts, comments? Okay, we're gonna move on. Included in the packet, as always, are any minor COAs that were approved since our last meeting. Design standards training and updates. You wanna take this one too?
Yeah. So we prepared and are sending out this postcard similar to the one we sent about the design standards in the area. We're going to be offering 3 webinars and then 1 in-person event about the standards, and you can see like what each one of those will be about, and just kind of like updates, learning what we need to improve and all of that. And then that in-person event will be also to celebrate National Historic Preservation Month. We're going to do a more outdoor style event out at the Historic Depot and have refreshments. We're going in the talks this Friday about doing a historic walking tour of downtown of some sort. There's a gentleman who has started to prepare some stuff about it that we were told, and so we're meeting about that, seeing if that's a potential. So it's highly encouraged that that one, you guys, if y'all are able to attend it, because it's also to honor and thank you guys for the work that you guys do for national preservation. And like I said, we'll just have light refreshments, a good time for you guys to come out, meet people in the community. We'll be inviting city council and the other commissions to also come out and see what we've done. And other things, so you should be looking, I sent the order in for these today, so you should see these within the next week or so. Like this says, there's a link to our online learning page and a QR code. That's where all the details for each of the webinars and the live event, where you can register for them once we get that put up. I believe Connor and I are working on that, and then, yeah, I think that's pretty much all for that, unless y'all have any input or any questions about anything with it.
There used to be on the Burlington website a walking tour, and that it's pretty outdated pictures, and
Yeah.
has that ever been updated, or is there any plans to update that, or?
We have not updated that. We can put that as, something to do in the future, but.
That's something I'd be interested in helping
Yeah.
out too.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So the first one is on March 29th. It's pretty quick from now, turnaround, but there was a lot of interest again from Preservation Burlington to start and work with them on kind of educating the public on the application process, what defines a good application, what makes a complete application, where you find the materials. Application materials, not the construction materials themselves, and the kind of the general role of the HPC and also of staff as we review applications. So you guys are certainly welcome to participate. That will be the first 3 are virtual because we wanted to try to get as many folks to attend as possible.
Is it possible too to record and put
Yeah,
a link?
that's what I was
Okay.
about to say. And then we'll be recorded and the link will live on that online learning page. So if you can be at it, great. If not, it'll live there as well, so you can reference it at any point.
It'll help people that have never applied before.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think also, we're also hopeful that the different in-person educational events will also get recorded too. So it's like we're developing almost like a library of resources for different purposes. Anything else you wanted to? Okay.
Just besides that, we would love to see all of you at that live event or in-person event. Just because, like I said, it is honoring you guys, thanking you guys, and then, like I said, we'll be doing that walking tour potentially. So it'll just be a good time for y'all to come out and thank you guys for all that you guys do.
So help spread the word.
Yes.
Is that rain or shine? The 19th, rain or shine?
I think
Because
so.
can you do indoors into the, or is it going to be?
Yeah.
We could potentially do
Okay.
indoors. It just kind of depends on if it's like a light rain sprinkle, we'll probably still, do it and kind of have something there. But if it's a lot of rain, which we can get in May, we may move it over to the Paramount if that's available, or we may postpone it. But we'll, especially if you register through, we'll have like an Eventbrite link. If you register to that, that's where all of our communication will also come through. So we'll send the links for the webinars through there, and then if anything changes with the live event, we'll also send it through there as well. So we'll hopefully give you as much communication as possible, and if not, just feel free to give me a call or send me an email, and I'll get you whatever you need.
One other quick question, for promoting all these, do we ever put things on the Nextdoor app or on social media?
Yeah, we have a public engagement office that posts things regularly. We also do press releases as well. I think Nextdoor is part of what they send out.
I think if we
Yeah, I just know there's a
request it,
historic, district
Okay.
set of people.
I can inquire and make sure that John Vernon is who posts on that.
I mean, I'm happy to
Yeah.
share it to that
Yeah.
myself, but I think coming from the city, it would probably.
Yeah, and I can send you guys this graphic of the postcard, and y'all are more than welcome to print it out. Eventually, I'll be also creating a flyer, probably specifically for that in-person event, just that way we can have as much turnout, and y'all are more than welcome to share it with friends, neighbors, family, bring anyone out that you would like to. Y'all are more than welcome to do that as well.
And you said this is a postcard that'll go out.
Yep, it'll go out to the historic district, so if you receive the last one, you'll receive this one as well, because we use the same mailing list. I'm good.
Okay, CLG training, just a reminder, so I always forward any of the training sessions that I get from the state. So there's no mandatory obligation to attend anything that you see in the email. Some are more local, some are across the state on all different topics, but we, as part of that CLG requirement, we are required to have, to uphold our training requirements, which includes, I was just looking at this today, it includes 6 training sessions for commission members and 3 training sessions for staff per year. And as part of our annual report that we submit to the state, that includes the training, and we also submit them to the staff person when they occur. So,
Is that a calendar year, and do we need to send you something showing, proving that we?
yes, if you, it is a calendar year. Well, actually, I think it goes by their annual report, and so it's not actually the calendar year, but if you listen to or attend any of the training sessions, just email me or Bree a summary of what you learned, of the date and the time of the seminar, and we can forward that on to the state. They keep a log, we keep a log, so we just like to
So if we haven't done any yet this year, between now, mid-March and December, roughly, we need to do 6.
I don't think it's, I'll confirm the deadline date. I don't think it's the calendar year. I think it's gonna run with the term almost, which would be the end of May. The appointments typically are the beginning of June. I know that this year was a little bit different because of the standards, and council held off on until those were done so that there was consistency for that process. But typically, the appointments run from June 1st to the end of May. That's the calendar year for
It would
us.
just help to know, when, by what date
Right.
each of us need to actually.
Yeah,
get this
and
done.
then there's online, all different kinds of topics, but then there's specific trainings just for commission members as well.
Yeah.
And so Jim, just to clarify, are you saying 6 per commission member?
No,
Uh,
6
I- I-
Yeah.
You were asking. yeah,
Oh,
so-
I thought you meant 6 per.
Oh, I thought it was 6
Well, that makes it a lot easier.
I didn't think so. I didn't want
Thank
to
you
go
for
to
asking
6.
that. I thought I needed to do 6 in the next few
We
months.
should let you do that, and then we'll be
Because
done.
I forgot, I have to do,
we want to keep you on the commission.
conferences and law CLEs and all sorts of other things.
No.
Yeah.
I think the School of Government also sends some out. I've not done the historic training one, but I've done other ones that were great, and they're all online, or all the ones I've done are online, so they're very easy.
I think we have to do continuing legal education for the bar, so it might be that I could get that to overlap a little, get a little credit.
It's possible.
Will this year's terms be different as well, since like the new folks came on later?
I think it'll still run until the end of May, because that's, now we're caught up to, unless something changes, which I can't imagine it will, but you never say no, right? But yeah, that's when the typical calendar of the appointments run.
And there's no appointments expiring this year. Yours, it says 24, unless that's incorrect.
Sorry, like it's this year.
We'll
I mean, I can confirm, I just pulled up the roster and it says 24.
We'll forward the roster to the commission. I know we shared it, I think at one point to just confirm we had all of your contact information, but we'll forward the roster to everyone just to, so that you can see the information that we have.
And I can confirm with John Vernon, he also handles all the boards and commission stuff, and I'll make sure that these are accurate expirations.
So Bree, the School of Government thing that I did, that counts towards?
Yes.
Okay.
So that counts as one
I don't know
of
when I
the
did,
six.
I can't remember, October maybe.
Yeah, it was just a historic overview of
Did you
historic. I
send
think
a
Vernon,
summary
you did that,
I
Vernon did it as
too.
well.
I think I did it through, didn't you register me?
I registered him,
Yeah.
so
You guys-
I have proof of that on the
Yeah,
state.
Vernon did it as well. like-
Yeah.
So we're ahead of you guys.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna say, y'all let some catch up.
Catch it up.
Okay, so then if you don't mind, I'll just go to the last item that I have. So May, as was mentioned, is the National Preservation Month. And each year, the HPC nominates different properties that are eligible for what we call the Mine Tree Pine Award. This was an award that was established in the 1990s, early 1990s, and it recognizes properties of historical significance. Last year, there were 2 properties that were nominated and received the award. It was the Red Cross building, that's the apartment building, and it was the property that was 404 South Spring Street, which was the former Sundries property. So I just wanted to be ahead of the game a little bit this year, and considering that there's some new members, and just wanted to have you start thinking about if there's any properties or nominees that you might want to suggest. You can, and we'll send out a reminder to this too, to start developing the list. Usually we have 2. I think in the past there may have been 3. They don't necessarily have to be in the historic district, as you know, Sundries wasn't. And what we normally do is we, as the commission, recognize the applicants at the HPC meetings, but then we also have formal recognition at a city council meeting, so that typically happens in May. So hopefully for next month, we can have some discussion, and we'll have some emails trying to get some nominations going.
If we have somebody to nominate now, can we see
Sure.
it? Because I thought, I saw it on the agenda, and I thought, well, I have to have my ideas for the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's commercial property and residential, so for commercial, I was the Jeff Wilkins Design Group. They did an amazing job on the building. I don't know.
On Church.
I don't know the historical significance of that building, but he's just taken a really ugly,
It's like mid-century modern.
Mhm. and it's beautiful to show people what can be done. And the second is the Fogle and Jeffries house. We lived next door to Christina and Jason and saw what they purchased and what they transformed it into. And it's incredible, the amount of doing things right, doing the right things, not just putting lipstick on a pig, but really doing beautiful.
What, do you know the address of that one?
Christina does.
It's 420 West Front Street.
So yeah, I was one thing ahead. This,
My house.
Your
Yes.
house, okay, that's what I was like, yes,
Fogle and Jeffries house, yeah.
I had a nomination in mind too, although I don't know their address either, but Molly and Donovan, at their house in Glencoe Village, I don't know the address.
Oh, I think it's 2411. I think it's 2411
Okay,
Glencoe.
that seems right, because it's Mine Tree's exterior,
Yeah.
right? And I know that they're doing an amazing amount of work on the interior too, but I think the exterior is mostly done around this time. It's worth checking.
Okay.
So if not this year, then definitely.
Okay.
I'm gonna pre-put nomination in for next year.
Any others too? We'll send out a reminder, because maybe Brian has some suggestions as well. But thank you. I don't have anything else.
Anybody else have business to discuss?
Ooh, look at us in under an hour.
I know.
Just,
Honor Miss Taylor.
you have to get rid of Brian.
That's right.
So do I can get a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
With the time change.
We are adjourned.
Ah.
All right.
That was hard getting up